Today, we're going to talk about a man who was locked away in prison for almost 3 decades, just for his beliefs. But when he finally walked out a free man, he didn't want revenge. He chose forgiveness. This is the incredible story of Nelson Mandela.
So let me just ask you something right at the start. What does it really take to change the world? Is it about money? Is it about having power? Or is it something else entirely? Well, we're about to dive into the story of someone who actually did it. And I think his life gives us a pretty powerful answer to that very question. Okay, so to really understand the man, we have to go all the way back to the beginning. Our story starts with a young boy growing up in a world that was, well, completely and totally divided. It all begins in South Africa with a boy named Rolihlahla. Now, you might not recognize that name, and that's because the rest of the world would come to know him as Nelson Mandela.
Growing up, Nelson saw firsthand that his country had this set of deeply, deeply unfair rules. And these weren't just unspoken things. They were actual laws that were designed to separate people for one reason and one reason only: the color of their skin.
Seeing all that injustice, well, it lit a fire in him. And he wasn't going to just stand by and watch. This is where he goes from being a young man to a powerful voice, fighting for fairness. Now, to really get what he was up against, you need to know this one crucial word: apartheid. This wasn't just, some people being prejudiced. No, this was an official government system set up to legally separate people and treat them differently because of their race. And in everyday life, this system created two totally different worlds. If you were a Black citizen, you couldn't vote. Your schools were separate, and much, much worse, you were told where you had to live. But for white citizens, it was the complete opposite. They could vote freely, they had better schools, better hospitals, and could live wherever they wanted. The difference was just staggering. So, faced with all of this, Nelson Mandela knew deep down that this was just plain wrong. And he made a choice, a huge one, that would change his life forever. He decided to become a leader and fight for a future where everyone was treated equally. But when you decide to challenge an entire government, it comes with a massive cost. His courage was about to be put to the ultimate test. Because he was a leader, because he fought against these unfair laws, the government didn't just disagree with him, they branded him a criminal. He was arrested, put on trial, and sentenced to prison. And his sentence? 27 years. Just let that number sink in for a second. 27 years. For a lot of people, that's more than half their life. But here's the incredible thing. Even locked away in a prison cell, his spirit couldn't be broken. This quote from him says it all. He believed that the real glory in life isn't about never messing up or never falling down. It's about having the strength to get back up every single time. And get back up, he did. This next chapter isn't just a new beginning for him, it's a new beginning for his entire country. I mean, just look at this timeline. It's absolutely unbelievable. In 1990, he walks out of prison a free man. Just 3 years later, he's awarded the Nobel Peace Prize. And then, only 1 year after that, in 1994, the man who was once the country's most famous prisoner is elected its president. The journey is just breathtaking. So after everything he'd been through, after those decades in prison, what do you think his first move was? Revenge? Getting even? Nope. His message to the nation was something so much more powerful and so unexpected: forgiveness. He knew that if South Africa was going to move forward, it couldn't be built on hate. And with that idea, forgiveness, as his guide, he took on his biggest challenge yet, leading this deeply hurt, deeply divided country into a new future, together. He had this vision he called the Rainbow Nation. Just his election alone was a massive symbol of this new beginning. Nelson Mandela became South Africa's first ever Black president. And the most beautiful part? He was elected by people of all races, in the country's first truly free and fair democratic election. So, as president, what was his plan? It wasn't about power. It was about healing. He wanted to unite all South Africans, make sure every single person had equal rights, and build that rainbow nation he talked about, a beautiful idea of a country where people of all colors could finally live together in peace. So when you look at his whole life, from that little boy in a divided world to a global symbol of peace, the lesson is crystal clear. The incredible courage of just one person really, truly can change the world.
And that brings us right back to that first question, doesn't it? Nelson Mandela showed us all that forgiveness isn't a weakness, it's a kind of superpower. It's got the power to stop hate in its tracks and to build something new. So the question I want to leave you with is, how can you use that superpower in your world?